All right, yeah. All
Okay.
right, let's do it.
27.
She said so. Rush to get it a day.
So, good afternoon, everyone. We'll get started with our working session for today and review for Thursday. We have call to order, roll call, invocation. Mr. Rodriguez is on his way. Pledge of Allegiance, Councilwoman Landry. Is that okay? And awards and presentations. We have two proclamations: sexual assault as well as Astronomy Day, and also a presentation to our councilman who's leaving with the certificate of appreciation.
Not because he made a word.
Okay.
Sorry.
Somebody's leaving?
Somebody's leaving.
We'll present him with a paper badge.
And a paper.
And we have our city manager report, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor McCaw, members of the council. This morning, had a visit over at CCOM for a couple hours where we met with Graham County and Safford and Thatcher, who are considering joining CCOM. So a lot of question and answer and tours and discussion there, but that would be a great thing if we could bring them on board with us as well. So we'll keep you informed on that. The Fry Boulevard project hopefully will be done by the end of the week here, and then you see the state moving rapidly around the bypass now to pave the road. So it's been a long time coming, and that's all good as well. Obviously, we have a number of other street projects coming up, including the MLK reconstruction. North Garden will be coming up, and then our other annual street maintenance. And I'm sure I'll have more to add to that list by Thursday. So,
Thank you, sir.
that's for now.
Yes, sir. We continue consent agenda. And for the new business, resolution 2025-31. We have staff report, Mr. Elbow.
Thank you, Mayor McCaw and members of council. So after our discussion at the last work session, it sounded like council was ready to move forward with adoption on the strategic plan. So overall, this is the 10th strategic plan that council will have adopted since 2007. There were some minor updates overall. Council chose to update the mission statement this time. There was an additional organizational value added since the last plan, and then some updates and changes throughout the plan. Overall, it establishes 22 different priorities for staff to work on. After the discussion at the last work session, the changes made from the last draft that you saw were to change the wording on initiative 14.3 to maintain and enhance instead of enhance and maintain at Mr. Jones' request. And then at Mayor Pro Tem's request, we moved initiative 16.2 under priority 16 on creating a phased plan for the implementation of the Fire and Medical Services Department assessment. And those were the only changes since your last work session. So I'm happy to answer any questions regarding your proposed strategic plan.
Thank you. Are there any questions, comments? All right. Thank you, ma'am. And we'll have a call to the public and comments by the council. And for today, we have presentation of the fiscal year 2025-26 budget for personnel, capital, and O&M presentations. Hey, Jen. Good afternoon.
Mayor, members of council. So today we will review the progress we've made with the O&M, the capital, and the personnel. We'll start with the FY26 budget projections in the general fund, then do the total comparison numbers for FY25 and 26 O&M, the total number comparison for the FY26 personnel requests, then the FY26 capital project list per fund. And then there's nothing major at this time for the facility maintenance list, so we don't need to do that one. And then lastly, we'll do the FY26 vehicle list. So the first slide is an overview of the general fund. These are the numbers as of now, and they're definitely going to change as they move forward with the budgeting process. So keep in mind this is using personnel projections estimated at this time and old allocation numbers, so that $687,000 number is definitely going to reduce.
And I just want to break in here real quick, Jen. Although it shows that we're out of balance right now, Mr. Mayor and members of the council, that's actually a very good number for us at this stage of the budgeting process, and smaller than most deficits we deal with at this time. So I'm confident we'll be able to balance this pretty soon.
So the departments have been working really hard and doing a fantastic job with keeping their O&M requests for fiscal year 26 level with fiscal year 25. So these are the O&M numbers for all the funds, and they're definitely going to change as we work through the enterprise funds and the special revenue funds. So you'll see a breakdown of the O&M for general fund in the first few pages of the tentative budget book. But right now the difference is $383,000 from last fiscal year. So we're still working through the personnel numbers, so these are definitely going to change. The total for fiscal year 26 is currently estimated at $47,303,000, with the difference at $1.3 million from last fiscal year. So fiscal year 26 does include a 2% step increase for full-time and part-time employees starting July 2025. So this slide shows the new personnel requests that are made for the list so far for fiscal year 26. These are positions that are promotional opportunities with no backfill, and the amounts on the right are the estimated annual difference in the salary, with the exception of the refuse line, and I'll talk about that in a bit. So the IT position for the Deputy Chief Information Officer is a staff supervision, task assignments, and follow-up responsibilities with an annual difference of $21,000. So the Community Service Officer program has been really exceptional. And so with a total of 6 total positions, and they would like to convert 1 CSO position to a supervisor position, those responsibilities currently are tasked to a corporal. So the new supervisor would take on like field training, mentorship, evaluations, and like report approvals and those types of responsibilities. So in the city manager's office, there's going to be some reorganization that requires a high-level position. The annual difference for that one is going to be $5,742. So the refuse tech position was the one I mentioned earlier. So $54,357 is if we added a brand new position, but since this is promotional, we're going to take one of the refuse worker positions and promote up into a tech level. So the difference in pay from the worker to the technician is $9,706 annually. So this position will be the primary point of contact for the residential drivers. So it's going to increase continuity and help with the workload. Any questions so far?
And the Deputy Chief Information Officer, that's a converted position as well?
Promotional.
Okay, yeah.
These are all promotional.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, they're not new. They're
I have a general question. If we go back to the first slide that shows FY26 general fund budget projections. For example, the FY26 personnel estimated is $37,092,000, et cetera. But when we look at the backup slide for personnel, it says $47,303.
Correct. The 47 includes all the enterprise funds and special revenue funds, so transit, refuse, sewer, streets, that comes out of her fund. So general fund just pays for City Hall, like finance, city manager's office, public works department, community development, police department, fire department.
Okay, and so the reason why the FY '26 debt projected cell is empty is because, why?
There's no debt projected as of this time.
I'm sorry?
There's no debt projected as of this time.
It's not paid out of the general fund?
Correct.
Okay.
There we go. So these are the reclassifications that are requested made by the departments. HR conducts an analysis and then comes back that these positions should be increased due to the increased job responsibilities. So the recreation coordinator to recreation program supervisor, there's an increase in special events and responsibilities. That increases $14,000. For HR, the payroll coordinator to HR analyst is a $10,000 increase. For the police department, converting one ACO assistant to a full-time employee, this is as a result of the decrease in DOC hours. That one's an $11,000 increase. The fire department, I apologize, it's not $395,000. That's not the increase. So increasing the paramedic ad pay hourly rate would help the city's fire department remain competitive in the market. And so the $395 is actually the total amount we would pay for the entire paramedic ad pay. The increase from last year is only $56,100. So that one was a little bit of a typo. I apologize.
Yeah.
Oh, big typo. I apologize. So,
And Mayor and Council, this is a change that was requested and worked on with the fire department. We had an issue with ad pay, if you recall, a few months ago. And what this does is it eliminates the ad pay provision and rolls it into their hourly rate. So it should make it a lot cleaner and easier to do payroll on.
Yes. That's good.
so the request for transit is the customer service representative. It'll restore it back to the department specialist that was previously held, and this is due to the paratransit call volume increase. There is one that is not listed on here, and that's a reclass for one buyer position to procurement analyst. The difference will be about $3,700 a year. So every year, HR takes a third of all positions and goes out for market comparison. From that list, these are the HR recommended reclassifications. And keep in mind, this is the annual difference for all employees in that position. Are there any questions for this slide? Okay, let's move on to capital. So this is the FY26 general fund capital list so far. The Fire Station 1 generator, the Fire Station 3 ups, the library ups, and the police ups are all old and need to be replaced. The Cove water feature replacement is carryover pending the request for proposal. The Ethel Burger Center range oven is old and it's slow to heat and it's having trouble holding heat, so that needs to be replaced. The police department evidence parking lot expansion. So the expansion would accommodate several evidence vehicles, and that area would need to be paved to prevent ground contamination. So this whole expansion would include a privacy fence, security cameras, the asphalt. It may need a rerouting of the drainage ditch, and then interior and external access gates for the tow truck deliveries. The Rothery watershed is old and is currently damaged, so this would help secure the building a little better. The Cove structural improvements is a carryover. Statement of work is in progress. The fire truck carryover, that's expected to be delivered in February of 2026. The new fire truck request is to replace a 2005 pumper truck. There's one ambulance carryover still pending. The Mona Bishop Conference Room, the current equipment is over a decade old, and so for this one, IT would be installing a new AV system that would enable a multimedia presentations, interactive displays, and also help with group activities. ACO security cameras would provide real-time surveillance. Fire Station 4, these would be new cameras. Excuse me. The PD live scan reader, that would provide high accuracy and increased security and access identification verification. The extra monitor to connect to the Sierra Vista Unified School District would be in the Real-Time Crime Center. The Climatech server, this is the HVAC server that controls the entire system for all city buildings. So I think in Arizona, this was probably a really good one. So Tot Turf repair and seal for Sierra Mataro. This is a potential safety issue. Bless you. Len Roberts, the new pad, would work with the existing drainage system to help with the current water load. The community well. So while we were doing the electrical panel replacement in fiscal year 25, the company found out that there's inconsistencies with the testing for the data for the water pump. So they would like to pull it, send that off for repair. So it would need a new pump while that one's being repaired, and then this one would serve as a backup. Nancy Hakes would have a new playground and landscaping. And then for OICC, they're going to do the basketball to the pickleball court conversion with including a fence. Lastly, there'll be 5 police Silverados on the list. Any questions for general fund?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead, sir.
So, the 2 fire truck entries, are we buying 2 fire trucks, or is 1 fire truck going to cost us $2.5 million?
One is a carryover that we requested for fiscal year 25, so then we won't receive it until 26. And then the replacement for the 2005 pumper truck is going to be a new request for fiscal year 26, but we probably won't receive it until 27.
One was budgeted this year, and we haven't received yet, which will come the following year, and then the next one is for next year's budget.
They take approximately 18 months to 2 years to arrive.
Understand.
2 trucks, not 1.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Lynn Roberts splash pad, the community block development grant that we saw information on before said the splash pad would be $12,000. That cost is now $100,000.
Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Johnson.
No, Jones.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Councilmember Jones. My apologies.
I know I'm sitting in a seat, but come on.
So when we were looking at the budget for CDBG, we were working within the budget and trying to back into a budget. We did not have numbers, solid numbers for actually doing the work needed for some water circulation systems for Lynn Roberts pad. That splash pad is more than 20 years old. They're going to have to rip out the base in order to get to it. We're working right now, but the preliminary numbers are coming in at about $100,000 to
Okay.
do work. Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
I have some new numbers for the HERF fund. So Fry North Garden, the work is underway. The expected carryover is going to be closer to $2.2 million. Annual street maintenance is budgeted for $1.5. MLK, the new carryover amount is closer to $223,000. So that bid was awarded to K&G, and they delayed the start till after the Taco Bell sewer detour has been completed. And they're also coordinating with the SR90 project with ADOT. The BST reconstruction phase 1, the appropriations were awarded. Theater Drive, the design is underway, but there is still coordination involved with SSVEC, so that carryover is still $1.8 million. Any questions on HERF?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Just because we know 1.5 million is not enough for annual street maintenance, because that's what we've been doing. But I don't know where we would get money to put more into that. Is that, we're not keeping up with our.
Well, the MLK, that was under, right? The 805 is now 223. Is that what you said?
That's because they're completing, I believe, some of the work.
So we're expecting 4.4 million from HERF, right?
Well, $2 million for the Fry for
Total. Total
Yes,
HERF.
for HERF, yes.
So if we add street maintenance for 1.5, MLK for 0.8, and Theater Drive for 1.8, that's 4.1 million, so there might be another 300,000 from HERF for road repairs.
Well,
Yes,
the 1.8 is from MPO's office. The carryovers from previous years for MLK. But her fund also pays for the employees that actually work in streets, their O&M also, and then some other capital.
Oh, is that the difference? That's not, okay.
Right.
You understand what she just said? Okay. She doesn't have it on here, but that difference that you're finding is the O&M for the street maintenance people,
City manager has it.
Personnel.
personnel.
Yes, sir.
Mayor McCaw, Mayor Pro Tem Humphrey, your observation as to the $1.5 million being woefully short for our annual street maintenance needs is a correct one. But when you look on this list, you see that we're augmenting that maintenance first, with the money that we're using out of CIF for the North Garden project, and of course then the MLK reconstruction. We also have a large grant award for BST to augment our street maintenance, and of course we're putting in for the money we lost when the continuing resolution was passed by Congress here just a month or so ago. So there is money augmenting that, but it's going towards big projects and not to our normal street maintenance. So it's still short of what we need, though.
Question answered.
Well, yeah, I mean, he was just trying to help because
Oh.
I don't have a solution to that. I don't know where we'd get more money to. I just know it's not going to be enough, and things are going to get worse, and it's just going to continue to. I know it's it's an asset, but I don't see it that way. It's a liability.
Under the current scenario, really the only option that we have, given the revenue that we receive, is to, as we go forward, continue to use capital improvement funds for street maintenance, which of course has a cost associated with it. It takes away from other projects.
Yeah, that's the only course of action.
So there are a lot of carryover projects for transit. Just wanted to point out that the bus shelter and enhancement carryovers, that's for 7th Street and Charles and Campus and Colombo. Those are to make them ADA accessible. The BST pathway connectivity carryover is in design with 90% completion. The pedestrian walkway connection, that's for Carmichael, Timothy Lane, Bartow, and Marianne. That's under construction with 50% completion, projected to be completed end of July. The connectivity and safety project carryover for $2.3 million is for sidewalks. That's for 5th Street, Bel Air, Judd, Taylor, Bartow, and Fab. The transit planning is carried over for $200,000. The transit appointment scheduling software, that's a carryover. That's for the paratransit scheduling. They do about 50 to 75 a day, and right now they're all doing it manually, so this would help streamline, streamline that process. The tablets that are listed for $3,500, that's in conjunction with that scheduling software.
So I'm sorry to interrupt. So what's the manual process right now? Do we have someone answer the phone to take a pickup?
Yes.
Oh, geez. Yeah,
Yes.
Okay.
It's an Excel spreadsheet,
Ugh.
highly complex system.
Yes.
Oh, that's going to be great.
That's also why they wanted to change that CSR position to a specialist, because there's that overload of responsibilities now.
Mm-hmm.
So
Sorry.
the carryover for the bus and the van, and then there's the recurring software maintenance for the B2G now. So all the capital items are grant funded with 20% match from the city. So if all on this list is approved, then the city match would be $1,146,000. But don't worry, we're still working through the list. So the enterprise fund capital list will definitely change as we work through their budgets. We're still going through their O&M and everything. So right now, this is more of a wish list. So the collection system flow study, so during the master plan, the wet weather flow wasn't materialized, and they need that to provide additional data to minimize the overload in the plant and the actual collection systems. And then the gator with fogger, that's to replace a 24-year-old gator. For refuse, the efficiency study is to help identify cost and savings. The roll-off containers, that's a request to purchase several new 30-yard roll-off containers. So supply and demand, sometimes they actually have more requests than we have available. The refuse truck packer rebuild is similar to previous fiscal years. That's to replace the refuse truck packer components to replace the whole bed replacement. Sorry, that's too many replacing. Compost turner, this is actually pretty cool. I didn't know that there are so many ADEQ requirements for compost, but this is to help keep the mix and stir component materials to code. And then the current one that we do have has been down so much that it has created a lag in actually available compost for our customers. The side loader truck, this is to replace a 2012 side loader truck that we currently have that's been in the shop about 17 times.
Share. It's okay, but just.
Yeah, go ahead.
How do you know how old the compost turner is that we're replacing?
Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem Humphrey, I'm not sure on the exact age,
Maybe old.
but
Okay.
yes, it is very old. Scarab, I think, is about original to when we started doing composting out there. So I'm gonna just guess in the 15-year range. And as noted, it's a piece of equipment. It has no redundancy. That's how we turn the windrows and stay up on ADEQ requirements. So when it's down, we cannot make compost efficiently.
So we just been having someone repair it? And then-
Yes.
Okay. Wow. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
The airport fund is currently healthy. Right now, the spaceport license is a 2-year process awarded to launch on demand, but there is a potential funding available through state appropriations for this. The first grant proposal is to design and construct pavement rehabilitation on the main apron area. I'm going to refer back to this one 2022 ADOT pavement management report, and it estimates that the PCI for that area is about 64 in 2026. The second grant proposal is to reconstruct a portion of the apron near the self-serve area, and that same report estimates the PCI at 66 for 2025. The
Is that-
third,
Sorry, is that out of 100 or is it like a 66%
Yes.
yes.
pavement condition? Okay, thank you.
The third proposal is to reconstruct the taxi line between the westernmost T hangars and the self-serve area, and that report estimates the PCI for 66 in 2026. And the fourth grant proposal is the airport rehabilitation taxi lines between the 2 hangars. This includes design and construction, and the PCI would be 66 in 2026. The last grant proposal is going to be for the airport utility installation for the sewer line, and that's potential DSIP and also maybe a state appropriations grant. The CDBG list has changed. So Montebello fire safety improvements in Soldier Creek Park are expected to be completed by fiscal year 25, so these will be removed off the list. The proposed program year for 2024 reallocation to Fab Avenue for $188,000. That was Matt's recommendation at the last work session. And then the proposed program year 2025 entitlement for Fab Avenue. This is actually going to be $135,167 due to other applications. the capital improvements fund list for fiscal year 26 so far. So the first item is the addition of the dedicated puppy room at the shelter. This is to house and display puppies for adoption and also for disease prevention and quarantine. So puppies are very vulnerable to diseases. This will help quarantine them to keep them away from the older animals. So that'll help prevent an outbreak. The Fab Fry redevelopment survey design and carryover. The placeholder for Sierra Vista Golf Course Clubhouse renovation for $1 million. Roadrunner Park design carryover. We're still awaiting final documents from Wheat Design. Roadrunner Park construction, that includes the fiscal year 25 carryover amount and the solar rebate. Prefab restrooms for Domingo Paez with either the vault or the septic. And then lastly, the last design is for expansion to Station 4 to help facilitate fire truck operations. So they'll install one new bay door, add 2 bunk rooms, and then install a drive aisle from the rear of the station to the front of the station.
I have a question. What are we getting for the 1.7 million for Roadrunner Park construction?
The 753,000 is the carryover amount that was dedicated for fiscal year 25, so that will just roll over, and then the 1 million is coming from the solar bait rebate from Snyder.
I think he's asking what we're getting for it.
Oh, I apologize. That one I'll leave for the solar.
Design.
Yeah, that was my question. What are we getting for it?
Go ahead, Lois.
Okay. Councilmember Jones. You're welcome. For that, we're hoping to parlay that into a match from Land Water Conservation Fund in order to make that over $3 million. Right now, the preliminary numbers we got for design for the full of Phase 1 was quite high, and we've had to go back to Wheat and do some like Phase 1A, 1B to try to back into something that's manageable. The full Phase 1 estimates during the concept phase was around $9 million for the full of Phase 1. We're hoping to get a parking lot, a small pathway, a restroom, a playground, and a splash pad with the first design, and we're waiting on those numbers to come back.
Who's doing the design?
We design group.
They have an architect on staff?
Yes.
They do.
You sure about that?
I'm sure.
It's
They're
good
not.
stuff.
I'm sure that they have a lot of subs, just like every they're using Somas Group and other groups.
But this is an add-on to the original contract that came up with the renderings.
That's right.
So do we need to go out with an RFP for this additional work?
All of the professional design services by Arizona statute have to be awarded based on qualifications. We have selected Wheat Design by taking people who are pre-vetted through the City of Tucson's contract and selected Wheat Design Group. We've asked them because they did the concepts, I asked them to use the same method of procurement to give us a bid on that. We cannot award based on price for professional
I
design
understand that.
services.
So the 3.4 million will be what is needed for the Phase 1, which is the parking lot, the 3 things you just mentioned?
We're hoping so, yes.
I have a question.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
I was really happy to see the puppy room because, from my understanding, one of the previous possible estimates was a lot higher than that. So I think it's really great that we're able to get it a more reasonable price. I was just kind of wondering if there was anything else that we might be able to put in there for the animal shelter, any other type of, or if we're able to make room for possible projects that we can maybe do this coming year.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Well, Mayor McCaw, Councilmember Landry, obviously we're very pleased that we are able to get some quotes, a couple of them in the $200,000 range for the puppy room, which we promised that the council that we would look at. So we're recommending that in the budget. There are competing needs for the funds, so once we identify what's left over, we can give you an idea. But I think we're, the original $2 million budget, we spent $2.25 million on Concord groups, and then another 200,000 or so. So we're up to about $2.5 million. So I'm not sure what the next phase will cost yet. So I'd have to take a look at that. Mm-hmm.
So all the vehicles have been included in the previous list, but this just highlights what we're going to remove from inventory and what we're going to replace it with. Any questions on the vehicles? Okay. So we're still meeting with the departments to go over the numbers, and then the next steps will be to balance the remaining funds, which you'll receive the general fund balance budget next. And then you'll have a complete tentative budget book before Memorial Day weekend. Little light reading. So here's just a summary of your upcoming budget needs. I'd be happy to answer any additional questions.
Just have one.
Yes, sir.
It goes back to it's a sewer issue question in regards to the wish list for the collection system flow study. Will that at all show us like where those clay pipes are that are giving us so many problems with like the Aloe project? Because they're not marked, they're kind of like here and there, it seems like.
Mr. Mayor, Councilman Rodriguez, and I'll ask Bryce to step forward as well. My understanding is no, it's not so much the type of the pipe, but the flow in that pipe. Bryce, is that correct?
Sorry. So yes, that's correct. What that flow study does is it measures what we call I&I. It's infiltration and inflow from rainwater events and high groundwater, and it shows us where we do have compromises in our system so that we can address those and direct our maintenance accordingly.
But not so much like the location of the depths or anything like that. That would be a different kind of study or process.
Councilmember, that's correct.
Thank you.
And I would note that as part of our ongoing maintenance, our collection system camera van, we do know where the clay pipes in the city are when they go through our system. They try to make it to every pipe about every 2 years. They do record the condition of the pipe, and they record the type of material as well.
Okay, thank you.
And to add that as well, we do know the relative depths of almost all of our lines already, and we have that mapped in our GIS system.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Is there a way to highlight for the capital improvement funds what funds for each section or each department is a grant associated with? For instance, we were just talking about streets, just to use you, or parks, I'm sorry, with the 1.753 that has a grant associated with it that we're hoping to get in the total of $3 million-ish, but we have no access to know what grants are out there. Sometimes with grants, we put money aside because it sounds like a great idea, but sometimes that 1.7 million might be better suited somewhere else for that fiscal year. Does that? Go ahead, sir.
Oh, yeah. Mayor McCaw, Councilmember Benning, that's correct, and there is a separate grants fund where that can be spelled out. But right now, I'm not sure what we would get if we spent 1.7 million at Roadrunner right now. With a grant that doubles that essentially, I think we could do a pretty good job with a phase one project that actually puts something there that people could use. At 1.7, I'm not so sure, and I would be more inclined probably to hold on to that match and try again, to get another round of grant funding before. So we would hold it back instead of spending it. Yes.
Okay. And the only reason I agree with Mayor Pro Tem Humphrey, and I think Councilmember Jones was bringing it up too. With 1.5 million associated with streets and street repairs, we have a lot of secondaries and auxiliaries that need work also, where we've been doing the chip repairs, which are great at the time, but seeing more go back to the streets, I know once, and it's a blessing, once Fry or once the highways are done, 92, Target, it's going to be a lot better. But we do have auxiliaries and streets, or auxiliaries and secondaries that need a little bit of attention also. And I don't know, well, I know that 1.5 ain't going to stretch that far. So that was kind of following up on that same point. We've been spending a lot of money on parks as the liaison of Parks and Rec. I love it, but we also kind of maybe take a step back and look, okay, we're doing these good things. If we can't get there safely, if we can't get there without a 4x4, is it worth having? So maybe take a look back and say, okay, how can we improve some streets or add some auxiliaries or secondaries to the capital improvement fund to beef up that 1.5 million. And I'm gonna let Chuck talk.
Yeah, Mayor McCaw, Councilmember Benning, clearly we have a lot of competing needs. And there's a number of different fronts that we're trying to address here. And, we already talked about being short on streets. Councilmember Landry, pointed out, that there are other phases of the animal center that we haven't got to. So those are just two examples. The definition of a budget is allocation of scarce resources.
Exactly.
And the council's job is to, make those priorities, knowing that we're not going to get to everything. So this is our best shot at making a recommendation to you guys.
More comments? Yes, ma'am.
Can we revisit FY26 new personnel request? Just give me clarity, understanding on this. For the Deputy Chief Information Officer, I'm looking at 21,000. Is that a new position? Is that a current position with the increase? Can you clarify that, or can someone?
They're all promotional opportunities, so they're going to take a current position and then just promote up to a Deputy Chief Information Officer. So that would be the difference in the pay from the current position potentially to the new position.
So there's going to be additional duties?
Yes.
Okay. Next one is the City Manager Officer, Assistant to the City Manager. Is that an increase, I would assume?
It's an increase in responsibilities as well. So it's a promotional opportunity as well. So a current position with increased responsibilities.
Okay. Okay, the next one will be the Parks and Recreation for the 14,000. Is that a current position I'm looking at, or are we trying to get this position in?
It's still a current position with increased responsibility. So they're going to change from a coordinator to a supervisor.
Okay.
More questions, comments? Thank you, Jen.
Thank you.
Our next presentation, Council Executive Report, sorry. Yes, sir.
Okay. Sorry, Mr. Mayor. Okay, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, as you recall, this was on your last agenda, so we had a very busy agenda, so we didn't get to that. I did want to point out in there in the highlights the animal control shelter, ribbon cutting that was last Friday, so that was very, very good, and I was able to announce that we did get the quotes for the puppy building at that ribbon cutting, so and mentioned that I would be recommending that to you. So you guys heard that tonight. Obviously, we talked about streets and Buffalo Soldier Trail reconstruction. You'll remember we had two different allocations, the $4 million that's in the budget, and then I think it was $7 million or $8 million that unfortunately got caught up in the continuing resolution. But they did accept our application for that amount for this coming year's budget, so we'll be pursuing that as well. So hopefully that will augment our street maintenance efforts in the following year. We talked a little bit about Fab Avenue here and what we were doing with CDBG, and we took note of that, and that we're going to try to do the path in Len Roberts Park out of this current year's funds, and then obviously we moved the splash pad into our capital and away from CDBG, so that added quite a bit to Fab Avenue for next year, and we're looking to pay for Fab Avenue out of CDBG funding going forward. So that's how we plan on getting that particular part done. So there's a lot in the report. Staff is here to answer any of your questions, and we'll proceed from there.
Comments? Yes, sir. Me? Yeah.
All right. All right, here we go. From the top. Obviously, one of my favorite reports is always a lot of information that from everybody in the staff to put so much work into this. So it's always hard to highlight just certain things, but there's obviously things that stick out. Of note, I want to thank Erica Merritt at the library for getting that donation for the multicultural, diverse selection of books, which is good because obviously our community is super, super diverse, so for so many reasons. So it's good to see that we have these options at our library, which didn't exist before or were very few, far between. So thank you for pursuing that. It was good to see the revenue from the ice rink, $90,277,000, which is good. Obviously, when this idea was first floated, a lot of people were against it, saying it was just going to be a piece of ice in the park in the desert. But obviously, it makes money, and a lot of people enjoy it. All the numbers are there to prove it. So, if anybody ever asks, there are all the numbers. Thank you for providing all those numbers. The rentals, how much money we made. So, if anybody says that's just a piece of ice in the desert, yeah, it's $90,000 in revenue. Thank you very much for pushing that. And it keeps growing, so I love it. I love seeing people out there having fun out here. Out there, so we're sold out at the mulch center at the, I'm going to call it the wrong name. Compost facility, right? Currently sold out until May is the last I saw. Is that still the case, right?
I believe so, yes.
Right. That's always a good problem to have. I mean, it works. The process works. It's free to get your green clippings picked up and things like that. You can drop them off as long as you live in the city with your license or whatever bill you can show them. It's free. If not, I think it's $5 if you don't live in there. So obviously it gets put to use and people go get that stuff. So it's a great problem to have to be sold out. And I'm glad that process is still working. And I'm sure we're at the point of breaking some things there too because it works so well. So I'm sure that'll be a next year budget problem. But anyway, I also want to highlight Pablo Arianega, who does the film theater stuff. He's always on stuff like that. That trash video he did, when the trash disposal video is hilarious. It's got a lot of hits. I see him around town, and he's getting a lot of I think he's gonna has an IMDb page now and stuff like that because of it. So, hey, whatever gets people looking at our city videos, it works. So, thank you. Shout out to him and the staff that worked with him. I even saw him up in Tucson doing some other stuff this weekend. So, I'm glad they're putting our city on the map that way. Then what's up? We covered the budget stuff.
And you see Elizabeth's new video where she's
She
people
at the West End Fair. Yes, that was good too.
I love that.
Yeah, it reminds like one of the late night talk shows where they ask people questions about different things.
And whoever edited it made it like that.
Yeah,
I like that. Yeah.
I like that. That was good. Keep doing those. All those people are proud. You know, they got some TV time.
Unless they were wrong.
Unless they were wrong, then it'll be forever on the internet. So,
Someone did answer correctly.
Yeah.
Can I just? Is the reason we're sold out at compost because of the machine we have to replace?
So there's multiple factors involved. This is the busy time of year. This is when everyone is getting their gardens going. So compost usually runs out this time of year. All other factors not being an issue. Everyone loves to compost. A lot of people in our area do gardens. So.
Okay. That's good. Thank you.
Just the last thing, all the projects that I love seeing this one, this page 32, 33, and 34, and people always ask, what's going on here, what's going on there? A lot of times it's right here. It has the address, it has the project that's happening there, whether it's an upgrade, whether it's new build. I love to see this, new things coming to our area. And obviously the call volumes just keep going up for fire. Our population isn't growing that fast, but our call levels are going up. So it's very interesting because normally those are caused by a population growing. You have more calls. Our population is not growing. Our calls are going up.
Well, we do have 10th Mountain.
Yeah.
1,100 of them.
For sure. But most of these calls are like address-wise and call-wise. They're like lift assist and things like that. So it's not military guys that are getting calling for that.
calls,
So,
yeah.
yeah. Thank you. That's all I have.
Yes, ma'am.
I have some comments too. I also had marked about Eric at the library and the different language books. I think that it's really, really cool. I know in the school, the Scholastic book fair or whatever, they have like Spanish and stuff, and I've gotten those like for my daughter and stuff. But to see that there's so many other languages that are available at our library is really, really cool. So shout out to her for getting that donation to get that started. I think that's definitely that's great. And then I always love when there's the highlights of the different departments and the different employee profiles and stuff like that. And I just wanted to highlight Miss Kenny Downey, who's in our audience tonight, the HR department's new Chief Human Resources Officer, and she previously did a lot of really great stuff in the procurement area. So she brings a lot of 35 years of municipal experience to the department, working in lots of different areas. So congratulations and shout out to her for doing great things, and I look forward to hearing more about what happens in the future.
It's a great picture of her, too. It's a nice photo.
She's always photogenic, isn't she?
And then I wanted to highlight as well the City of Sierra Vista Mammogram Wellness event that happened in January, and how there was 44 participants that took advantage of that. I think that's a really great program to have. It's really important to get yourself checked out. And it's not just for women. It's also, this kind of thing is also important for men as well. So I just wanted to just thank everybody for making sure that program happens, and and I also wanted to thank people for going out there and taking care of their health and looking out for themselves. So keep on doing that. And the last thing that I wanted to kind of highlight was in the police department, the employee of the quarter. So Officer Matarang and Community Service Officer Trish Harmon. So Zach was recognized for going above and beyond domestic violence case. And so I thought that was really great. When you're in a domestic violence situation, it can be very scary. Maybe you don't know who to turn to. Maybe maybe the person is kind of keeping you kind of on your own. And so I think that was really great. Thanks to him so much for working on that and taking care of that person. And then Trish Harmon for raising over $13,000 for Special Olympics the last quarter of 2004. And organizing the Bearcat Pool and pickleball tournament and doing a lot of great things there. So shout out and thanks to them for all that they do. And that was the last thing I had.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have to agree with Councilman Rodriguez. This is my favorite report we get, favorite report that's published. But the only thing I have is whoever's doing the YouTube streaming on page 6, tracking council members' meetings and how many views we get, y'all got to re-look that. I think it's because I know it's at least 1,000 or more each meeting. So if you could re-look that for us.
And they're all going to be his IP address. They're all going to be from his phone. He just keeps going back to his own
I
site.
don't know why that guy keeps looking. But no, I love the report. Thank y'all. That's all I got, Mr. Mayor.
Any other comments?
This is why we'll miss you.
Yeah. Say it more. You get one more time.
Now we go to, where's my notes? Okay, report on recent trips, meetings, and future meetings.
Future meetings?
Yes, sir.
Environmental Stewardship Commission is meeting tomorrow.
Environmental Stewardship Commission. Yes, ma'am.
And then it's kind of a little ways out, but on the 7th of May, the Transportation Commission is meeting up here in the conference room upstairs. If anybody is interested, or you know anybody that is interested in any transportation-related stuff, there's openings for members.
Excellent. Excellent. Any other meetings?
We had our youth council meeting on this past Wednesday. Focused they met at the park. And their purpose was going to do like a small cleanup area because they had seen an area that needed some work, but it was already done. So shout out to this park staff that beat us to the punch, and it was like we had trash bags that weren't very full. But they tried. They did a good job of picking up what they could. But Veterans Memorial Park was looking amazing, especially over there. We had talked before. The Avengers are using the baseball field, and there's just the sheer the location where the wind blows everything right there. It was all gone. The leaves and the trash. It looks nice, so they can continue to use that field and not worry about trash, things like that. So thank you to the staff for doing that. Appreciate that.
Excellent. Yes, sir.
And Mr. Mayor, I want to add to Councilman Rodriguez's comments about the park. We are wrestling again with the well issue there, so Laura and her team are working on that right now, but we'll keep you, we don't want it to turn brown, obviously. So
we'll hear about it.
Yeah, because we will hear about it. So we're aware of that, and we're working it.
Maybe we can have those end-of-year events where the firefighters come and show water over everything of the kids. We'll just do it at the park and wet the grass forever.
Let's do it to Will on Saturday.
We can.
I won't be there, but.
All right. We have future discussion items and council requests, ma'am.
Thank you, Mayor McCaw. We currently have the presentation on the Balanced General Fund scheduled for you. If we're able to do any other funds at that time, we will add that on, but currently Balanced General Fund is the goal. That's it.
That's it. Yes, sir. Okay. And that's it. And with that, any other discussion items? All right, we're adjourned. See you on Thursday.
You do a fundraiser.